Welcome to Answers from the Universe and the Andronicus transmissions on Wolf Spirit Radio, Ever Beyond Radio, and Studio 9 Jam on YouTube. With your host, Jessica Ariel Morocco, featuring JP as the voice of Andronicus.
Hi, how
Please
are you?
visit www.readingsbyariel.com. That's A-R-A.
Interesting, right? Last night wasn't funny.
Well, oh, Max Steel and his bottom. Oh man, oh well. It's nice and clean today. I've washed all my clothes.
I know, it just made you just want to.
You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio.
Go.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today at Answers from the Universe, the Andronicus transmissions. Still going through a little bit of a cold, so don't mind my voice. So we have a lot going on. We have, for those of you that are not aware and that are big followers of what's going on with Andronicus, we have created a private group, and my lovely friend Chez she has put together some amazing things, and if you want to join the group, you go onto Facebook, and if you have access to the chat room, she will be posting that again for you, if that's okay with you, JP.
Oh yeah.
And let's see, we have also today at sometime halfway through the show, we're going to have David Young join us, and we will play a little bit of his music. Also a reminder that after our show will be the Interstellar Galactic Council with Viking, and he will be having some guests on. I believe Chris Jacobs will be on. I was trying to get Chris to join us towards the end of my show as well, but if he can, that's great. If he's not able to, then he will be there throughout the Interstellar Council. And also, I just wanted to remind you to donate, to give if you can to the station, and on a personal level, if you feel like you like what I'm doing and want to support what I'm doing, you can also donate through my website at www.readingsbyariel.com. I also am available for sessions, so the same thing. You can go in and sign up for a session. Sometime last week I had a session with someone, and on occasion when I do a session, it doesn't happen all the time, but on occasion when I do a session, I am able to connect into different species, and last week I was able to connect in through this wonderful gentleman through the Netherlands, and I asked him to come on the show, but this is not for everyone, and for some people it's kind of very uncomfortable to talk about what they know or what they've experienced, or at least they don't want to do it on my show at this time. But he's a wonderful, interesting individual, and I know that he's done quite a bit spiritually in holding the space. But meanwhile, we were able to access energy of the mantids, and the ones that people refer to as the Zeta Reticuli, who are often seen with the mantids. As, of course, you have this tall mantid, and then the very small little grays that people know. And so today when I was doing the transmissions, one of them came through, and I asked him who he was, and he gave me kind of a background. His name is Siggy, and Siggy he was quite interesting. He had a lot to say, and he is kind of opened up and explained a lot about what they are doing here. He also told me their species is not called the Zetas. That was a location of where they lived, and that he likes to be referred to as the Ata, which is a collective group, and then he explains the hive mind. So there's that going on, and so you'll be able to hear what he had to say. And I don't know if it's appropriate, but I thought maybe we could use the voice of Eric. to do that since
Yeah,
they're kind of small.
I'll do a sort of variant on it. It won't be the same frequency as Eric, but it'll be that sort of thing. So,
yeah,
just to kind
I
of
think
somewhere between me and Eric.
that best describes his tone, and the reason why I have JP, I have you use different tones is just to try to give you a sampling of what I'm experiencing when I'm talking to these beings.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's the tonal quality of a communication. I mean, we've seen these all these channelers, and they throw it through text to speech, and it's not very easy to listen to text to speech. It's much better when a real human reads it, because you've got heart there. There's no heart in the text to speech.
Right.
And I think that's the big
I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
And I think, you're an amazing talent anyhow, JP, and you have fun with it, which is, I think it's intended to be that way. And, because we're having fun with it, people think it's just a play or something like that. These are actual conversations that I've had. And, the best way to describe them is to actually re-say them, and to go through that dialogue. But maybe, for some it's enjoyable to listen through the dialogue, and others are really listening to what's being said, which I think is really the key behind it, is making sure that you understand what's going on. Which, brings me up to another issue where, I received a message from Amy Delgado, who's a dear friend, and, she's very insightful, and I respect, some of the points that she has to make. I'm going to read to you what she said to me, and then I'm going to answer it. She said, "Hi Ariel, I was listening to the last show, the part about Andronicus identifying a leader that can change body and be elevated to high levels of control because he aligned himself with the darkness. I think if you open the show restating this part about a selfish overseer or something to that effect, people remember that we are waiting to be informed about who this is. It's like a cliffhanger." Regarding that being that came through and Andronicus talked about, it was sort of a forewarning. Remember, nothing has to come into fruition, but this is one of our timeline potentials, is that this dark being, maybe some people will refer to him as an Antichrist persona. The key behind this is when you have an energy come in through this, they're not necessarily connected to one body. It's usually something that they'll step into a body that they choose. It could be someone that's already in leadership right now, or someone who is going to be coming into leadership that has the consciousness or a lack of consciousness that matches this energy, or has gone through a great deal of suffering and trauma where they have exited the body, there leaves that space, and a dark energy can then step in. The energies of that nature are looking to control and manipulate the populace to extract energy, the loosh or whatever, because they're in a state of contrast, that they're lacking the life force energy. They're getting depleted. They're getting close to collapsing and fragmenting into they're either the primordial space or into nothingness. You can, as a soul, do that to yourself. No one can do that to you. But as a soul, if you step too far into a dark place, it starts to fragment. So, this being somehow who's still quite powerful, but is fragmenting, is looking possibly to house, to find a body to jump into, to walk into, and to take on this Antichrist type of energy. Now, we've had many of these before, and in many ways it could even be the same essence, or it's a collective. My opinion is these things are collectives. It's multiple ones trying to hang on to the end and then jumping in. But it doesn't have to be the reality. So I think he brought this up saying it was kind of out there, getting closer to our reality, preparing to step in, but it doesn't have to. So I don't really know. It's according to our consciousness and how things shift as to whether or not it's going to embody someone. And let's hope that doesn't happen. Also, Amy said you should restate the highest potential for humanity in the idea that any sudden change is from a faction, and that the highest potential should be the shift that is gradual and positive. And all that you said last week about the factions being responsible for any abrupt change. So if there's a species or a faction that wants to interfere or disrupt our reality, usually it's abrasive, and all of a sudden, we're find ourselves in a conflict or something that doesn't make any sense, and further traumatizes us and is not a natural flow of our evolution and growth. So, I just wanted to repeat that, and thank you, Amy, for asking questions. And I do encourage people, if you want to write in and ask a question, or even call in. At some point we'll do call-ins if people are interested, and we can go from there. Let's see, JP, did you have anything that you wanted to share?
Well, after last night's dissection by Muggsy.
Okay.
I don't know if you were aware, but just before Max's show, we do a live show where she points her skio machine at me and tells me everything that's wrong with me. And I make jokes about it and make light of it. So adds the entertainment value of it all. But yes, so I'm currently being zapped by these hyperdimensional skio devices. It's like a scalar healing device.
Oh, okay.
And it can look into your body and change things. It's like remote viewer and remote influencing.
Yeah, so I don't know. It kind of scares me a little bit. I'm not sure if I'd like that.
Well, I think this is, it is an alien technology that is being brought out now. It started a couple of years ago. Karen McDonald has one.
Oh, okay.
And it's like the Star Trek thing. You see in Star Trek, they see inside the head and they spin around the head, and, you see the inside of the body.
Like a medical device.
Yeah, it's a medical device. It's like a medical healing, scalar healing device, and it queries your whole, cell structure and atomic structure and all that stuff.
Do you feel better after going through these?
Well,
or
last
the
week
same, or?
On Monday, I don't know I was complaining about having a terrible backache. And then I had this palpitation event. It's like my heart was going boopity 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 boom 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 boom. It sounded like an African chorus. It was great. I didn't let
Scary.
it. A lot of people would have been, I'm going to die. But I didn't let it bother me. And it died out after a day or so. But it's a day and a half or something. But it's what is it? Arrhythmic tachycardia. That's right. Tachycardia it's called. Anyway, so I had a bit of that. But that's all right now. I'm all right now. And so here I am. So I don't know what the next bunch of healing crises are going to be, but it's quite fun.
Well, if you're having fun doing it, and as long as you're healthy and safe, we don't want anything to happen to you. So, and I know that Muggsy wouldn't do anything to you. I just the technology. I think I would like to know more about it before.
Oh, I've heard of it. I've heard of it. I have heard of the skio machine. I thought, wouldn't that be cool? So, I have sort of volunteered for this, as it were. So I'm being a guinea pig, and it's quite. And it's on YouTube, you see, so you can see the screens and you can see all the things that are going on when she's talking about me.
Yeah. Interesting.
So it's
very interesting.
That exciting. So that's what I do before Max's show. That's our new live show, the Quantum Healing Show. And she's starting with me, and if there's any other people who are wanting to be guinea pigs, I mean, this thing strips you right down. It tells you everything that's wrong. Everything, Jessica. Everything. All right. So she's like more than naked strip bare.
Yeah. How does it remedy it?
Well, it's just like a psychic healer would. Does it in the same way as it's a vibrational reset to the blueprint. That's the idea. So,
All right.
because it can tune, it not only can tune into your physical body, it goes into all the subtle bodies as well, all the way up to the causal blueprint. The causal body.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I know that alien technology allows people to have what we were talking about, those rejuvenation beds.
Yes.
That they talked about as well.
That's the
in
next
Hall
step.
of Earth. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So this one works, as you obviously, she's in Arizona. I'm here in UK. So, it works no matter where you are on the planet. And, so, anybody wants to connect with Dr. Muggsy and, see what can happen with you. So, shall we visit? Are there any more announcements we need?
I wrote down a list of them, and I think we covered. I think. So, if anyone wants to reach me, it's www.readingsbyariel.com. That's ARAEL.com, and you can see it. See, my information is on Wolf Spirit Radio, and I think we're ready to go in and do Andronicus.
Greetings. We all have a part in this reality at this time. There are so many who are holding the keys that launch humanity into future timelines. Not everyone is willing or able to contribute what they can. And this is part of the dilemma. For example, I decided to return back to the future reality where the transhumanist society existed as a breaking through of past and present existences. Do you recall a while back now I mentioned that there was a spacecraft, mothership of a torn and bent, twisted spacecraft, where all the robotic bodies had human souls within. The electronics of the bodies were hindered and stayed motionless in a space. The souls, however, had such a strong projection that they entered your current reality. The head was a matriarch of domination. She wielded her persuasion to change many around her. She then inserted her intentions upon humanity. She's not one, but influences many females as well as males. I returned to that space and noticed that after my first visit there, where they tried to absorb into my consciousness and hold me hostage to their collective, I decided to expel myself harshly from them to not be taken in by this. It freed me to do other things. However, whatever I tried to do had a remnant of this consciousness in the way. It is an existence of pain and fury. A harsh lesson to take power from the earth and searching for life extension without consciousness. But by my burst of protons within their space, I was able to free myself and insert an essence of consciousness. It also caused the pixelation of the quantum field, and the particles began to separate into essence. Upon my second visit, they began to fragment. The souls are returning back to source. Some are still holding on, but their stronghold is weakened. With each step, you become more liberated by them. I too am suffering from their trauma. It is a horrendous timeline to encounter. In some way, this is where humanity was headed. You can see that it hits a dead end of destruction and pain. I can't emphasize enough that there is a higher road to take. You don't need to destroy everything to rebuild. Consciousness awaits you. Choose that path. Oh wow, Borg Queen. That's the first thing I thought was the Borg Queen. And,
so, interesting.
Any other, pictures you got when you received this?
Yeah, it was that strange looking ship that was kind of twisted.
Jess, I lost you. Did you go mute?
No, I didn't.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. You said strange kind of ship that got twisted. And
it was like twisted and kind of pulled through time-space somehow.
Like somebody had taken a beer can and then stretched it.
Stretched it, twisted it, yeah, like it was bent. And remember, this was a while back, and he keeps on showing it to me. If you go he went into the ship and there were all of these like robotic looking males and females, but none of them were moving.
Mm-hmm.
But he could hear them talking.
Ah, right, yeah. So this is this is transhuman humans, having, and this is what we've been talking about, is that the offer is that you're inserted into a robot body so you could live forever, but there's no life because you're just a drone. You're just a slave. You're just an organic being. Yeah, you're just an organic control unit. Like, and so many science fiction shows have shown this, that, the human being is then enslaved into a machine that has no expression of love or free will. You're gone again. There you go.
I'm gone again? Oh.
You had, are you muting?
No, I'm not.
All right.
I'm not. There's some kind of glitch here.
Yeah, a little bit. But anyway, you're here now. So,
okay.
Borg, people.
All right. So what happened was they were,
Nope, you're gone again. How bizarre. Can I call you back? Jess? Ah, yeah, you just completely cut out there. So.
Isn't that weird?
Welcome. Yeah, it started and then it just, and then it dropped completely. So anyway, and if anybody's wondering what's going on, if ever I have technical difficulties, I hear that sound in my head. I hear that song in my head because it's like stay calm during this whole what could be a panic. So I don't panic here. Oh, Myra's. Should we take a quick comment from Myra, Pleiadian sister? Jess?
Sure, yeah.
Oh, she's just calling in. Hey, Myra, what's up? Oh, maybe she butt dialed us. Oh well, never mind. Never mind. Okay. Shall we come back to our next transmission?
Yeah. So, well, let me finish my thought real quick.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So anyhow, that these beings were somehow, transmitting information, and I think somehow Andronicus might have entangled us into it by accident when he stumbled on that space, and then he sort of just took off, didn't want to deal with it, and then returned to it. And so, but when he went there, he released them. I think the souls are capable of leaving, but that has been affecting us to some degree. So, we can move on now to, let's see. Let's go to Rhodan.
Mm-hmm.
And also just a reminder that Borkum comes through with Rhodan.
Does he?
Yes.
Do you know, I was talking with a very dear friend about, this whole thing and about like Primus and all this stuff. And I did a search on my Andronicus database to find out when Primus first arrived. And that's quite an interesting little piece, that. It's very interesting. It's right at the beginning, number 18, episode 18. And then they see this being called Suma. And she's not quite connected in with like, oh, she's you. Yeah. Think. Something like that.
Yeah, that was the incident where, Borkum and, no, it wasn't Borkum, it was Ketriton and Ketron.
Yeah.
Had an incident, and they were it was a struggle over power, but they were still brothers, but they fought roughly, and one cut off the other's arm. And we were all like, oh my goodness.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right? And the one who won was Ketriton, or the one who did that was Ketriton, and he ends up taking over Neptune, which is how he becomes in power, of the Titans. And, recently, interesting, someone told me that it's an elven, practice to cut the arm of another if you want to be in power. And I thought, wow, that was an interesting piece of trivia. And it sounds similar to, the Titans.
Say again what they said?
The elvens, the elf beings,
mm-hmm.
When they want to assert power, they cut the other's, arm.
Oh, I see. So it seems like a general protocol, thwack off the arm and, take over.
And then someone else can come in, and I guess that it was actually brought in through the Cabal or something, or some kind of weird, I don't know, it was Cabal, Illuminati, I don't know what it was, but there was a weird ceremony of putting a cut in the arm. Not cutting off the arm, but just putting a cut in the arm, but originally came from like an elven practice, which is maybe a very, very ancient practice of asserting authority.
Back in the days when we could grow our limbs back.
Yes. Or someone has to fix them for you, so then you either become super powered or you become less empowered.
Yeah. Well, look at Darth Vader and Skywalker. Luke Skywalker has his hand cut off by Darth Vader. And
okay.
Skywalker ends up with a bionic hand. You remember?
No, I forgot about that.
There's a lot of that
about. Another incident.
And C-3PO has a silver leg because he's made of junk. He's like coming out of a junkyard.
Yep.
He's been bastardized, cannibalized. Anyhow.
Poor C-3PO. You said it. Okay, so we're gonna just be prepared for a Borkum comes through.
Okay. All right.
Rhodan. I see you are on a Star Command fleet now. What is going on, and are you on a mission?
We're always on a mission. That's our job. We'll have a task to accomplish, to expand, maintain status, or even protect. I heard you called upon the Council recently. What is your concern, and why didn't you come to me directly? I don't know. JP wanted me to contact one of his guides, Liella, and I always... Oh, hang on.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. JP wanted me to contact one of his guides, Liella, and I also wanted to talk to my son Romulus near the star Tegeta. I suppose I was a bit frazzled by everything. It seems that things are happening quickly and without positive intent, but then I feel that something isn't quite right. I've had a discussion with Mars.
No, that's me. That's Rhodan now. Just altering the
sorry.
script here. Yeah, that's all right. That's right. Yeah, you do it so beautifully every week. There's very few of these little things. So well done anyway. I've had a discussion with Mars, and he's now engaged with us with much clarity. Your son Romulus is encountering an age regression. He is thousands of years old, but would like to be more proactive with the upcoming events.
I would like it if they both were able to come and see me. It has been very nice that they have acknowledged me in their presence. I'm glad that the words of the past could not end the love we had shared. And I thank you for helping me with this.
Love makes the way for all things. It transcends time and space. That's how we became reconnected. Many forget that you were once my daughter, and I still regard you this way. I have many children on Earth. We are the salt of the earth, the basic element placed within humanity. Today, there are wars and rumors of wars, and we are doing our best to step into time to disallow many atrocities. There are others who are watching. You need to open your hearts and hear the voices of the echoes of love coming from the very inception of life. All are children from various places and times. I have to leave. Where is Borkum? I never can... there he is. Borkum, I see you have encountered a travesty. What is that figure behind you?
Are we in mixed company, Rhodan?
No, only the crew can view you. What is that creature?
Well, a friend, I suppose.
Why is he tied up like that?
He became too aggressive and I wasn't able to rest without the concern of being attacked.
Let the creature go and come on the ship. Enough of your camping on strange primordial planets. I know you're curious, but you could lose a limb around those creatures. They don't know you're not a part of the food chain.
Yeah, he did take a nip out of me. Look at my finger. Hey, is that Primus and Suma? Are they on the ship?
No, you're seeing them through my screen.
Primus, have a bit of ale with me. Is that what they call the liquid they drink? I introduced the mead when the Arta came. The bees, Primus, the bees, not the Bee Gees, although they carry a stellar tone, can't they? Ah, melodious.
Come on up. I will let you talk to Primus and Suma. Katron is here as well.
Katron? Is that him?
Yes, cheers, my friend. We're aligning to your coordinates. Wait, there's a serpent around my... Hang on, come to think of it, it's been around my ankle for a long time. Let go of me. Oh, this thing is...
Snake began to tighten on his leg.
I said, let go, or I'll cut you through.
Then the snake began to climb and put even more pressure on his leg. Borkum drew out a sword and cut it in half. The snake lay limp and pulled it from him and tossed it to the creature, who swallowed it whole.
How long has that creature been on you? Seduced you, mesmerized you, didn't it? We need to examine your blood to see if you've been affected by its tincture. Oh, what's happened to me? I'm dizzy. Where am I and how did I get here? Oh, we got you. Just don't move.
Then Borkum was lifted into a small spacecraft and escorted to the mother ship.
There, he should be back soon. I wonder how long this thing was attached to him. That could explain his odd behavior.
Is that how he became Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent?
Yes, a serpent is not his true nature. That was a primordial female. Now I'm seeing it all clearly. I thought that it was strange that he kept going to primordial places rather than heading to future events that he so loved and enjoyed participating in. It happened recently. She must have hijacked his mind to appeal to his will of venturing back to extract the goo or ooze that gave her power. I'm going to break that chain once and for all so no primordial creature can introduce that level of darkness to any civilization or culture in the future. Her essence is gone forever. Many will collapse who tasted of this poison to gain power and control over others. Now, let's move forward into a brighter future. Oh, that was quite a colourful one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Interesting. Interesting.
So see, because I've always had this thing, you say, that he was Quetzalcoatl. And that's not Borkum's character, really.
No, it isn't. It isn't. I always wondered that too.
Yeah. I mean, what's that all about? So so here we have Zeus, who is Andronicus possessed by the Archons, or someone. And then we have, Quetzalcoatl, who is Borkum, seduced by the serpent. Perhaps there's a pattern coming out here. Yeah. Those who claim to be gods.
That they may be infected by something. It sounded like Andronicus was infected by this future transhumanist culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're kind of cleaning the palate, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're like, scraping the barrel and, brushing the inside of it. Poor old Borkum. Anyway. So, shall we go on to our new one? Or?
Siggy. Yeah, this is Siggy, which is the Ata that Rhodan mentioned.
So, he's an Ata, right? So, he's slightly, I see him as slightly larger than Eric, so, he's got a slightly lower pitch than Eric, so I have that.
So he was a Zeta Reticuli, and he's just confessing to me or letting us all know. He knows this is going out to everyone.
Okay, now, I'm gonna need a little jingle for him. Have I got anything here?
Perfect.
Hello. I want to thank you for speaking with Prime Creator to allow us another opportunity to change our options to prevent our destruction. This is the road we were heading down, and despite our efforts to gain, you are having trouble hearing me. We are in a far-off distant galaxy now as we speak to protect us from some of your listeners who object to our existence. We are well aware of how much we are hated and threatened. Had it not been for our collective group mind, we wouldn't have survived at all. You call it a hive mind. The concept of the hive mind has worked well with our species, and it allowed us to keep track of one another. Your disassembly of our social structure has also affected other species who operate similar to the way we do, such as your bee colonies. You will be in trouble if you allow them to die off. It will throw a severe imbalance into your environment. There are other species who live on your planet, and they too will be affected by it. You humans have not learned what you need to learn about your world around you, and then you expect that you should make decisions with the galactic councils. This is the reason why your persuasion is lacking. We have more than twice your intelligence. In fact, we can run circles around you, and when you are being cruel to you one another, we have. It is true. We were not supposed to be here in this time, and should not be influencing you by introducing advanced technology, genetic splicing, atomic engineering, quantum altering, experimental breeding, and more. I won't divulge all we have introduced to you. However, you are equally guilty in performing operations on the innocent as well. Some of you will come with us upon leaving the planet. All of us have now been summoned to the Prime Creator to assess our activities and involvements with unauthorized interventions, galactic interference, quantum altering, migrations into unknown realms without approval, crossbreeding with other less informed species, quantum entanglements, introducing sonic booms to your space to create separations, from connecting to source or other benevolent species, creating a train sensation on your upper ladders of reality. We are the master scientists, and this is only a sampling of what we have done or could do. Some of you did not judge us, but admired us. We came to you with a human suit on many occasions, and you were stunned by our brilliance. We want you to know that though we had interfaced with your reality and altered things as experiments, we were not participants in any of the insidious acts done upon your planet. We began to become entangled with humanity and wanted to mate and be with you as some other species were doing already. You, in part, have been interfacing with many species for a long time, and we are one who have assisted your genetic codes to increase as well as others. Our crime is that we came in through the wrong door and introduced information to you that you were not prepared to manage. We mated without your full awareness. For this, I, as the voice of the collective or hive, do apologize, but remain to adore our shared children. They are our gift to you. We have not harmed any. We often got blamed for doing so. The insidious species often came after us and harmed you. For this cause, we are deeply apologetic. We are now being ushered off planet and hope to restore our former status and seek a road that we as a species were originally intended to follow.
I've heard many call you the Zeta Reticuli. Is that your name, or do you go by the name Ata, as you had mentioned earlier to me?
We were originally the Ata and have been named by others according to our sounds and expressions. We once went by Lucido because of a word we use as a greeting. They called us the Zeta because of a planet where most galactics thought we were from. We are the Ata.
What was your involvement with the Mantids? It said that you were often seen with them carrying out their instructions.
That is true. They wanted to control our species, and we found that they were getting us further entangled in their agendas. We pulled away from them, and I'd rather not speak about them, or they will make it difficult for our exodus. We are choosing to leave, and they are resisting. They are of another species, but we have known them very far back in time. We have cohabitated in many societies that predate your species. We will continue to engage with them if they choose the right path and return to the Prime Creator. If they don't, we are not sure what the future will hold with them. They have a lot to be accountable for. They are probably observing what happens to us first before going their exodus out of this passage of undetermined possibilities.
At that moment I felt uneasy in a mix of energy that, as I observed a mix of energy that didn't have a distinct path, I felt weightless and fluctuating with an energy tide that wasn't headed in a specific direction. Siggy, are you saying that we are in this type of space? Our lives and our world is in an undetermined space like that?
That is how we view it. Each species has come to infuse some of their awareness, knowledge and essence into your field. It has become a large mass of electromagnetic imagery. Your quantum field is growing exponentially.
Is that good?
It can be. You can create more of what you want now. The influences who are imposing upon your will are now exiting. We were one of the species doing that. You have enough of our genome to influence our likeness into your realities going forward, where we can join you from a more gentle entry and thrive.
Is that what we are doing and have been doing with many other species? Will they coalesce with us better later on?
Yes, of course, I can only speak for us at this time. I do know that you reject a few of the species who refuse to be accountable for their actions and continue to harm humanity. Some of them never return.
Are you able to share with us which ones who are not returning?
It is best you do not know at this time unless they unleash darkness upon you. We would also like to have a safe exodus to see the Prime Creator. We would also like to have a safe exodus to see the Prime Creator. You will be surprised how many of us have been around you, and you will feel the absence when we leave. We do love all of you. We are like big brothers, but like big brothers we have been too imposing in your space. Yes, we were very entangled in your governments. We are not the cabal. That is another group. It is confession time to us. It is confession time for us. We no longer have anything more to hide. We did not consent to any of the secret space program tactics. We said none of these activities were necessary to prepare humans for galactic travel. I'm afraid many of these Dark Ones took advantage of your innocence. It will be amended in the end. I must confess yet another thing to you. We do love. We hide our emotions, but do know them. We are not robots, but had to pose as robotic entities to protect ourselves. Not to just hide around humans, but other species who are very present on your planet. There is very much that is about to change. You have persuasion, but it is the Prime Creator who will actually draw all of this out. Not by violence or control, but by love. We will go in 4 waves and return the same way. Dolores Cannon had spoken to us as well as many others. She is safe and thriving along with Dr. Emoto, Dwayne Dyer, amongst others. Don't be surprised. Our knowledge of the universe is ever expanding. Thank you for listening, and in time you will understand why things happened as they did. To be truthful, we are apprehensive to leave. Much has been said and done. We are now leaving the planet in your hands. Now you can see what it is like to be a caretaker.
Can I ask one last question? What is your status?
Captain of the fleet now. President. Ruler of the hive, whatever you want to call me. Remember, you are all entangled in our reality, and we reflect you, and you reflect us.
Well, that was weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, always.
All right, I just assumed my natural form again. Yeah.
You still have Meetis.
Yeah. Oh, I still got Meetis to do. Okay, that's good. All right. Meetis always brings us to our sense of camaraderie and music and joy and love and his pathos as well.
Yeah. So, I'm looking in the chat room and asking Prime Creator for forgiveness. Yep, they are. They, it's almost like they have different perspectives and ways of looking at things. And from their perspective, they understand the bad things that they did. But I think that they're learning. Spelling could range from ATA to ATAH.
Yeah, I think it's like a long A.
Yeah.
It's not ata, but like atar or something like that. Almost like pata, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like pata, yeah.
Pata, atar.
Over the
Pleiades.
Pleiades.
It's like tar, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Bee Gees came up again.
Hang on a sec.
Ha, 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 staying alive.
Starting to make sense, isn't it?
The Bee Gees are atars, yeah.
Or influenced by them.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be posting last night's archives very soon. It's very tiring for me to do the very late night show and then the early morning show. So here we are.
Yeah. About that.
Yeah.
Right.
So just to say that
we have the Interstellar Council coming on afterwards, and it should be interesting.
we are indeed. So
Yeah. Viking's going to come on at the end of the show and say hello and share some insights, and then we're going to go from there. But we still, maybe we should, let me know when you're ready to delve into the world of Meetis.
Right. I'm just doing the, got any announcements? Anything's going on for you?
I'm just reading from Paul. He says, how long does it take to learn Siggy until you are literally dragged off planet Siggy or something like that?
Oh, how long does it have to take to learn Siggy until you're literally dragged off planet Siggy? I think that's how you pronounce that. Commas are really very essential. Commas save lives. Let's eat grammar. Let's eat grammar.
Yeah, so we got a lot going on here. It's, it's funny because they've been having me channel like right before I'm going to do the show, so I have no idea where it's headed. And when Ziggy, I was like, well, who am I speaking to? And he gave me his name, and I was thinking, is this like Ziggy Stardust, or what is this? She brings us back to Dag, right?
Yeah. There we go. That's the opening to Ziggy Stardust, just in case you were.
Paul, I don't think the Zetas are killing the bees. Or the Bee Gees.
No, the bees or the Bee Gees. When the Bee Gees have left our planet, we have 3 weeks. Oh God, we have fun. Anyway.
I know. I have a feeling that's going to come back on you one of these days. You know how people are with the musicians.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, there's nothing I love more than harmony, and the Bee Gees, and what was that sort of Duran Duran? Do you remember the harmonies of Duran Duran? Very unique harmonies they had.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost
Weird.
like, it says, almost like a Tibetan chant. Her name is Rio, and they, you know, the harmony that they use is almost had like a metallic sound to it. It was like a very chrome-like sound.
Yeah. From Canada, weren't they?
No, London.
London. Oh, okay.
Was it? I think so. Duran Duran? London?
Well,
I know
Spandau.
Spandau Ballet, one of the guys used to go to my school. Yeah, anyway. Meanwhile.
Ziggy also Bob Marley's, is it?
Oh yeah, Bob Marley's son is called Ziggy, that's right.
Siggy, yeah. Very fucking chips. We're just reading random stuff off of the chat room. You guys are very funny.
That's Exodus. Anyway, shall we speak to our little...
Meetis. By the way, Dryden shows up.
Oh. Do I need a voice? Oh, Dryden. Oh, Dryden. I thought you said dragon. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Hello, Flower. Such a lovely day. I'm stepping into your reality today. Oh, you're tired. You're lonely. You're curious. Which one is it, my love?
Hold on.
Second line.
What are you speaking about, Meetis? What year did you come here?
Oh, I can't really say. Really, I can't tell you. Let me see. Yellow daffodils, crocuses, trees all around you. Is it New England? Yes? Time, my watch does tick or tock the right rhythm here. The sun is well aligned, the wind, southern breeze to be exact. Ah.
That is a little vague. How old am I?
Oh, I can't say. I didn't come here to see you. Please don't take it personally.
I understand. Was it an event?
Oh, it was Dryden. He stole something from me and then I followed him. He didn't take the usual path to the nethers.
Can I ask what he took?
It was a device. You don't understand these sort of things. It's not a travel device. Neither one of us need one. It is a reality device that alters time a bit. That's how I can tell he is changing things. My tick isn't tocking and talk isn't ticking, if you know what I mean. Here, for example, the wind goes in one direction and the sun in another. There are changes that are too subtle for humans to notice, but to us it is a clear magnification of tampering. There, I said it. Dryden is tampering with the realities. He must be up to something.
Well, if this is your device, then you tampered as well.
Shh! Whose side are you on? I have permission to do this to prevent harm to humanity. It is clear he is searching for something and is trying to hide his tracks.
Well, Chris told me that Dryden arrived at his home under another identity, and he wasn't being nice.
Chris? Who's Chris? Oh, I see. The mighty Hercules is honoured with his presence, and of course Dryden is there to take something from him. Ah! I heard you speaking about me. I came to take back from Hercules what I had loaned him. They were not permanent gifts. The golden steed and the lariat are mine, and forever will be. He can have the trinkets that you and others had given him. Trinkets? How dare you accuse me of giving petty gifts, and your gifts are glorious. Away with you, self-charmed prince. Oh, you still haven't learned, my little imp. I shall serve you a lesson or two as I did the last time. You bore me, Dryden, with your predictable tricks.
Come now, let's settle this in a more amicable way. And then Dryden popped out of the scene. He's gone, but I don't know where he went.
I know where he went. This is rubbish.
Tell us, what is he up to?
The magic gloves. He wants to be the only magician. I hate him sometimes, I really do.
You sound like brawling brothers. What is this all about?
A long time ago, I was given the magic gloves as a gift from Titania. They helped entertain humans. We all love to entertain humans. It's a gift of music or laughter.
Maybe they belong to the both of you.
What, you mean like one glove each?
Yes. Do you have one now?
I wanted both.
Maybe he'll get bored of it and hand it over. now that he has a golden steed and a lariat, he'll be satisfied.
He's done it to me again. He's out-tricked me. I'm losing my touch. Sorrow, sadness.
Cheer up. I'm not used to seeing you like this. I don't see you as someone who would give up.
I've got my stiff upper lip. I'll be fine. Let's have a song. Careless one, what have you done? You shared the secrets of the one. You stole the cape. You robbed the safe. And left me handling all but my fate. Will not trust your selfish lusts. For power and fame. No one else is left to blame, just gold and silver. You have everyone dangling from your finger. Release my glove and all will be resolved. Until that time, I will change it all. I will undo all that you have done to me. And then you will see I'm not subservient to thee. La 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 la, la 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 la. I will be king at your own ball. La 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 lee. It will be me who your people see. I will lock you into another reality.
Very nice.
Sometimes, there's a meter to a song. That's why it's called Meetis, right? That's why it's called Meetis, right? And meter is the way that the words fit into the tune. And, sometimes I get it, and sometimes I don't. And that time I got it, here there was a 3-time and it was like a sort of polka thing, sort of thing, wasn't it? Anyway, so there you go. Let me just, yeah. Oh,
that's Borkum's music.
Yeah. Hang on. For those who are editing this later. By the way, when we do this, it's completely live, it's completely unedited. What goes on the YouTube channel is again live. We only take out the commercial music for copyright purposes. But you'll notice that whenever I make a mistake, I'll always go back to the beginning of that sentence. So if anybody ever wants to edit it out, it will eventually come out, and it will come out smooth, because you can just edit out all the little vocal mistakes, the vocal typos that we make naturally, because we're doing it live on the air, live in front of your face.
Yeah, I'm getting it, only a few hours before the show, and you're reading it.
Yep.
Seeing it for the first time as we're doing the show
totally
live.
Cold.
Everything's live, and that was your choice, JP. And I think sometimes if we I don't know, maybe it's right or wrong. I mean, we're not here to present just the acting part of it, but try to keep it very fresh. And so there's a realization that comes through, and at the same time, it's very timely that we're talking through what I just found out, what JP found out. Sometimes I get information that's earlier. that comes into my awareness sooner, and then I have a discussion about it. But you definitely, JP, don't. You're reading it fresh.
I have
and
no
for the
idea.
first time,
Completely
so
cold.
Yeah.
Totally cold. Hang on, what was the English slang? I always using chop chop.
Yeah.
Chop chop is
Chop,
quickly.
chop.
Yeah, come on,
Quickly,
chop chop.
yeah.
Chop, let's go.
I saw, well, it looks like there's a little comment about Siggy back here from Paul.
All right, what did you say? Because Paul obviously
He
sees
said,
otters all the time.
I know. He said something about taking them out of the underground, get rid of all the other underground.
Mm-hmm.
Can't find it now. I hate that when I touch the chat and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Either way.
I'm looking for it, yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of little fun comments here.
So, should we put a tune on and then come back for our next half with right?
Yeah, we need to. We're going to get a David Young inspirational song.
Oh, there's a thought. Yes, from David Young.
Yeah, it's our friend David Young, and then we're going to bring in Viking as well.
Okay, so let's. Now, I love David's song called "Perfection," and I know where to find it. Here it is.
Oh, wonderful.
And it is a beautiful song. It's, I was talking with Alex the other day about songs that drop out spontaneously. You know, you ever written a poem and it's just like, you just sit there, you write it and it's complete. You don't need to change it, it's just there. There are songs that come like that. And David Young said that, this was one of those. It just came to him like in a dream. It just...
Beautiful. Oh, but before we go into that song, I do want, Chez or Cheryl, is going to be putting one of the symbols of Andronicus so we can hold the vibration for the highest potential for humanity. And this is the primary, I believe that's what she was asking about the symbols. So the symbols will be posted in various locations. We'll probably put it in the private group, but maybe she'll give you a sampling of it if she's able to and put it in the chat.
Yeah. I'll put some on.
Beautiful symbol.
I'll put some on the YouTube background that the show will have. So,
wonderful.
People will see one of those symbols, probably the first one. It's interesting because I came up with a symbol like that, a few years ago with a Z and things. Anyway, long story. Let's play some David Young because, he's such a beautiful man. Let's hear it.
Yeah. And we'll be right back. That's okay?
Okay.
And we're back.
Well, hello everyone, and we're back. And we have David Young here with us. He's the one that just had that beautiful song, and he plays the double flute, and he's very beautiful things happen when he goes out and performs. He meets people from all over the place and inspires them, with his gift of bringing and carrying the tonal vibration of the energy through his music. And things begin to happen, helping people to open up into those higher vibrational tones that lift and reveal things on a personal level. And collectively, I'm sure the group, whoever's there, experiences this. But for those trivia buffs, David had a connection to the show Seinfeld. And so I want to introduce David Young, and you can explain all of that for us.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Yes. Well, while I was playing at Venice Beach in the early 1990s, the writers of Seinfeld came down to the beach, saw me wearing this white puffy shirt, and got the idea for the Seinfeld episode with the puffy shirt, which turned out to be one of their most famous shows.
So, a real life Meetis.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's, it's funny you said that because Meetis is a minstrel, and it was sort of that type of thing where he goes out. I don't know if you listened to the show earlier, David, but I channel this information of different beings, and Meetis is one of them who sort of kind of lives in that time period. He's like a time traveler, but loves music and plays some of the old instruments, like acoustic instruments.
He loves the lute and the lyre.
Yeah.
Oh, he plays the lyre. Okay. Yeah, well, being a minstrel, I've been a minstrel in many lifetimes. It's a pretty good job.
Nice
It
work, and
is.
it's got good pay. Nice, odd hours, but good pay.
Right. The Seinfeld thing was a fun thing to kind of be part of, even though it was like a secondary thing, because I wasn't on the show, but the whole idea of the puffy shirt was on the show. And, it was kind of interesting because about a year and a half ago, I had been doing these meditation events that I do called Soul Ascension Meditation Workshops. And, about a year and a half ago, was only when about 200 people had experienced having a conversation or spiritual travel with Jesus, Mother Mary, or Mary Magdalene. Because now it's at 754 people. But back at that time, I had found out this information that the first mention of the virgin birth was added to the Bible 381 years after Jesus had supposedly died at 33 years of age. But he didn't actually die at 33. He lived into his 70s with Mary Magdalene, and they made their way up to Spain. But, I shared this with the audience, even though it felt a little strange sharing this information. And then when I did the meditation, when the meditation was over, this woman who had never read any of my books said she just had her first experience with Jesus, and he showed up to her wearing this white puffy pirate shirt. And there were some people in the audience who had read my books and knew that one of the chapters of my books is called Two Flutes and a Puffy Shirt, because that was my trademark from 1990 till about 1998. And I had just shared the thing about virgin birth being added to the Bible 381 years later, after the original Bible was made. So I figured if that had pissed him off by me saying that, he probably would not have shown up wearing my trademark shirt. You know what I mean? And then 2 nights later, in a different city with a completely different audience who had no idea what had just happened 2 nights earlier, Jesus showed up to the second person wearing a white puffy pirate shirt. 2 nights later, a third person. 2 nights later, a fourth person. And then the last night of that 10-day tour, he showed up to a fifth person wearing a white puffy pirate shirt. And at each one of those events, I had shared this whole thing about, the fabrication of the virgin birth, and the fact that at that point in time in history, there were 5 other religions on the planet that all had a virgin birth as part of their religion, like Buddhism had it, and Mithraism, and 3 other religions. And the early Christians didn't want to sound like Buddhism was cooler than them, so they added the virgin birth to the Bible later. And so that's how this whole thing connects back to that Seinfeld puffy shirt episode.
Fascinating.
It's really interesting that there's so many different layers to your work. We've talked about this before, David, because you have a connection to George Harrison as well, and then of course I saw John Lennon around you, and you've had other people channel this information. You have a wonderful energy, and different ones show up around you. And so people have had experiences with seeing Jesus, Buddha. It's beautiful. It's really a great experience. What's really interesting is that you're bringing this experience into this lifetime. And, we regularly have Meetis who has a similar lifestyle to you, but of course in another time. But it's possible that you might have known him because he was always in England. And I recently did a session with Cheryl, who we call Chez, and she's in our chat room. She does some other work. And you actually came up. And I was going to try to see if we can have her call in and, share her story, because she didn't know who you were, and I completely forgot that it came through, but it was a lifetime where, David, you and I talked about it, where I was sort of in a pub and you guys were out traveling. I think that you were with the Beatles at the time in that incarnation.
Well, that was just me and George.
It's just you and George, okay.
Yeah, I remember that. George played the lute, and I played the Renaissance flute, and we had a duo that we used to travel as minstrels. And you worked at one of the pubs where we used to travel to. That you were given that vision, and it helped connect some of the dots in my story as well.
And so I recently did a session for Chez, and she was also with me working in the pub. So I think she wanted to say, we're going to see if we can bring her in and say hello to you. I completely forgot about it because it happened recently, and I didn't know the next time you were going to be on my show. We hadn't connected in a long period of time, and it's always nice to reconnect. And we talked about you and your girlfriend coming up and visiting and coming to the center and to perform for people. And if anyone lives in the New England area, we were discussing. We haven't really quite got a date, but we're thinking in April that you'd be able to come up and share, perform and to share your gift with everyone. So I'm very, very excited about it. Say it again.
Yeah, I just did my 235th event in 2 years.
Wow.
I went down to Mexico City, and then from there went down to a place called Valle de Bravo in Mexico. It's like 2 hours outside of Mexico City. It's like a real spiritual place, kind of like the way Sedona is the big spiritual place in the United States. And had a great time there. Did an event there. Sometimes when I do these events, before I start to play the flutes, I do a visualization with people. And there was somebody in the audience who did not speak one word of English. And I had done the whole visualization in English. And she saw the exact same thing as everybody else in the audience, even though she didn't speak English, because, the heavenly team gave her the exact images that everybody else was getting from what I was saying in the guided part of the visualization, and she didn't speak a word of English.
That's amazing. That's really.
And there was another woman. Another woman had this fantastic experience where she saw this giant hand of God lift her up. And then the smell of roses came to her. And she had only seen that giant hand of God once in her life before. And that was 40 years earlier when she was 14 years old, and she broke her back. And while she was having a near-death experience, the same exact giant hand of God lifted her up. And this happened while she was in a coma, and that was the only thing she remembered from being in the coma. And she's in her 50s now, and she said it was the exact same hand. It was the only time in my life I had ever seen it before was when I broke my back when I was 14.
Wow.
But these things happen literally at every event that I do. At this point, 4,700 and something people have had those experiences at my events, and they shared them with the other people at the event. So the 4,700 number is just the people who have shared their experiences. That doesn't include all the thousands of people who didn't want to share their experiences,
So, David, what is your website so people can hear sampling of your music? It's really beautiful. I know that I had a friend who was really in a bad state and was feeling depressed about certain things that were, legitimate problems in her life. And she listened to your music, and it just helped her to find her center again. Sometimes it's just, you can talk all you want to people, but sometimes the music is very healing. And so what is your website that people can listen in and maybe follow where you're going?
It's davidyoungmusic.com. Just like it sounds.
Okay, davidyoungmusic.com. And you have, there's a video with testimonials as well as there's.
Yep.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
There it is.
If you're looking for meditation music, there's a category at the top that says meditation. So that's the most popular music that I have now. I've recorded 59 different albums, and
Wow.
over like the last 5 years, it's meditation music has just become so much more popular because mankind is going into this age of ascension where humanity is taking a giant step up spiritually, and all the things that I started meditating 33 years ago, and there was very few people you could really talk to about spirituality or meditation 20, 30 years ago, and now it's so mainstream. You know, almost everybody has tried meditation, and if they haven't, they know at least 3 people who have. And there's over 50 million people in America right now who are meditating or doing yoga once or twice a week, and every yoga session starts with a meditation and ends with a meditation. It's mainstream, and it's one of the things that people find at my workshops is that it's a safe place for them to share their spiritual experiences. It used to be like 30, 40 years ago, if somebody heard voices in their head, they got to go to a place where other people heard voices in their heads, But now people who hear voices in their head get about $150 an hour, So it's really, really changed.
Very, very good.
So, I think is Chez here?
You wish me to bring in Chez. Here we go. Adding to group call. Because you see people call in. That we had Darth Vader. I don't know if you noticed while David was talking, we had Darth Vader call in, but I had to hang him up.
Darth Vader called in.
Yeah,
Wow.
there was like...
Fascinating. Right?
Yeah. I'm not into all that heavy breathing. I'm trying to focus on spiritual stuff here today.
I know, it's like light breathing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Just a minute. Here's Cheryl.
I'm a bear.
Yeah,
I
your mic is very hot and you're breathing into it. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
You are, there we go. That's better. Back up. Step away from the mic a bit. There we go. Perfect. Thank you, love. Welcome aboard.
How are you doing?
I just
Hello,
want to let
Cheryl.
everyone,
Hi, how are you doing?
I want to let it introduce Cheryl, or she goes by the name of Chez, right? She's an amazing, talented person and has been helping with creating the group for the Andronicus transmissions on Facebook. It's a private group, and she's done a beautiful work.
Well, thank
Hello,
you.
Chez.
Hey. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. It's been good. I've enjoyed doing this group. I like getting people together and doing communities and things like that. So yeah, it's been enjoyable. But you mentioned earlier about I've been recently listening to David Young, and I listened
I've
to
heard of him.
It's somewhere around about, it's close by somewhere, I think, I've been listening to, I listened to an interview, I think you did in 2014, about your book and everything with George Harrison, but Jessica pointed, you out, to me. So I've just been listening to that.
Well, it started off that way. I saw that we had that lifetime together, and I was trying to see how we were connected. And when I was searching for how we were connected, I saw you in that lifetime. I was like, well, no wonder why. I mean, I just feel like, we've been friends forever. And I feel that way with a lot of people in the chat room for different reasons. But, in this case, it was a specific lifetime where it was sort of that minstrel lifetime. And, and I brought up David Young, and you didn't know about David at the time.
No, I didn't. And we were serving wenches. We decided that we think that's what we were in this pub, and we were groupies for David. I don't know whether you said his name in that lifetime or anything like that, but we used to follow him about, apparently, didn't we, as well?
Yeah, we're all friends. I think we're all...
Cheryl, are you still in the bar business, or are you in a different line of work now?
No, I'm definitely not in the bar business. Definitely not, no. In fact, that's something I've never done. I've never served or been a waitress or anything in this lifetime, so.
I would love to quaff an ale of mead, or some
Yeah.
mead with all three of you. That would be fabulous.
Yes, I know.
And, bring Meetis in, maybe, get Meetis or Rhodan to serve. That'd be nice. Here you are, sir.
I don't know if it's our connection or something, but it sounds like two of you guys have some accents from either Brooklyn or England or someplace in between. I can't tell.
Well,
go ahead, JP.
well, Cheryl and I are from the U of K, and of different parts.
University of Kentucky. I love that football team. I've been to Louisville many times. It's one of my favorite college basketball teams, Or you meant a different U of K?
The United of Kingdom.
Right, carry on.
Bless your heart. Anyway, so Cheryl's actually much closer to. Now, are you from Lancashire or Yorkshire?
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
Don't insult me.
I know. I'm just asking. Just let me explain that all Yorkshire people have a thing, what we call a chip on the shoulder about Lancashire, which is its neighbouring counties. It's like one of these things, like, Ireland and England, and there's this traditional rivalry between the thing. It's called the War of the Roses. It's never quite finished. Anyhow, so, whereabouts in Yorkshire are you?
I was from Wakefield, but now I live in Mississippi, US.
From Wakefield, but you're now in Mississippi.
Right. Yeah, it's right next to Yorkshire. Right next to it.
Just 4,000 miles difference.
Wakefield, Massachusetts. No. Actually, there probably is a Wakefield in Massachusetts.
There is. Of course there is.
Yeah. So, because there are lots of colonists from York, who of course formed New York, by the way, It's like, I don't know if anyone has made that connection,
as Cara G said.
That's right. And then.
Wait a minute.
What?
Wait a minute. I thought the New Yorkers formed that one.
Oh yeah, they traveled back in time from the future of New York, from when it was new New York, after they rebuilt it a few times.
I knew there was a reason we were doing this interview today. I've been wondering about that for years, so thank you for clarifying.
Anyway, less of me, but yeah, we're both from Britain, and I'm from the bottom of it. Cheryl's from the middle of it, and I'm actually living at the top of it nowadays, just to confuse everybody.
What? So you've really taken a step up to the top, huh?
Oh yeah, I've gone up 3 degrees at least. 6 degrees.
Kevin Bacon wasn't involved in this one, was he?
Bacon? Don't mention bacon. Anyway.
Hey, Cheryl.
Yes?
Cheryl, you had an experience with my music or something related to me?
No, it was Jessica. I had a reading or a session with Jessica, and she actually introduced me to you, and I just this was only last week. And she actually told me that we'd all had some lifetime together. So I decided to look into your, I'd listened to a couple of interviews that you did, recently, and, I'm going to listen to some of your, music and everything, and I'm sure it will probably resonate with me.
All right. Well, that sounds nice. I hope it was a peaceful time and we were all together, in medieval England.
Sounds like a fun time to me. What do you think, Jessica?
I think it was a fun time. I think it was music and sort of like it seemed very community connected, and people just would gather together and then they'd depart and go their own ways and then come back again. And lots of fun. Maybe you should go to England, David. Is there a calling?
Well, I've thought about it a lot. I have. I know that channeling and mediumship is very accepted over there, and there's all these, professional schools for channeling and mediumship, and there was a possibility of me going there about 2.5, 3 years ago, but it wasn't the right time. But I would love to go back there. I really would.
When you come, David, come up to Scotland, or maybe we can do a conference. We could do a conference that crossed over between music and spirituality and the paranormal and, the stuff that Wolf Spirit does. It would be really cool to have a Wolf Spirit tour, wouldn't it? Jess, you fancy that?
It would be awesome. It would be really, really amazing. I would love that.
And the thing is that over the last year or so, I've been collecting a PA system that will allow just that. So
Amazing.
it's a small venue. It's not huge. It's 300 watt PA, but it can be stuck in a car and taken around, and it's a broadcast station as well. So all good.
I think. Do we have Viking here?
Oh, let's go and get Viking, and I'll
I didn't know if
So
he was,
you continue, and I'll bring him in a second. So.
Yeah. So we can do the UK tour, and visit and do whatever. I'll tell you one thing. Yeah, they're open to channeling, but they love music, just as we do. And you never know where it'll go, David.
One of the cool things that happens when I do these meditation events with my flutes is that people who've never had a channeling experience during meditation will very often have their first channeling experience, and it'll just open them up to help facilitate so they can have that experience more often. A lot of times people come to the events and they are professional channelers, and it's like a power booster spiritually for them to be at the event. But a lot of people who've never had a channeling experience before come to the events and have one.
Oh, that's why I'm looking forward to you coming out here. And if someone wants to come out this way, we're going to be hosting you at the Divine Paradigm Center in Amesbury, Massachusetts. So it's kind of close to the New Hampshire border, and it's coastal. So that's why we're doing it in April when the weather is really nice, and it should be a great time. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Jessica, you mentioned the Bee Gees earlier, and when I think of where you live in Massachusetts, I think of Bee Gees because of that song. It's all linked together.
The lights all come down on my...
Staying Alive? Which one are you? Oh, yeah. Interesting, yeah.
Robin Gibb is a friend of ours, my girlfriend and I. My girlfriend is a channeler. Her name's Mimi, and we live in Miami. And Robin, we probably had 10 conversations with Robin over the last 4 or 5 months. And it's funny because Mimi used to go to this meditation center called, I think, the Brahman Kumaris. And, and because there's one of their centers that's about 10 minutes from where we live here in South Miami. And there was a picture of Robin Gibb there. He used to go to the same center as Mimi used to go to.
Well, last night on Max Steele's show, the Bee Gees came up because he said heebie-jeebies, and then it turned into the Bee Gees. Or he said it the wrong way or something. And then it came through in channeling today with the Bee Gees, and I thought it was kind of like I've never talked about them ever on my show. And it came up twice in 2 days. So
Robin was and is buddies with George and John.
Oh, okay. So now we have another link. I want to include Viking too. I think Viking, are you out there? Hello, Viking?
Yes, I'm here, Jessica. Hello to everybody. This is the Viking. Hey.
So, yeah, we got David Young here, and we have Chez.
Chez, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Hey, Viking.
So, what's happening here? I'm not sure how to fit in here. I'll tell you what's been going on. I have been absolutely inundated with sleep process. I mean, I have been realizing that the information I'm gathering during the day is just off the charts. I mean, we're right now, I can't explain it. This energy vortex and magnetic fields that's hitting our planet is off the charts. I go to bed for 2 hours and I just get downloaded and upgraded. So the information I get during the day, I'm starting to realize that at night when I sleep is when all the integration happens, and all the integration then is resequencing my DNA structure, and it's just, I mean, I wake up exhausted. I mean, I wake up just to get a break from my dream state. So this is very intense. It's a very intense time. There's a lot to talk about on the show, on the council, and not to divert attention here, but this is where I'm at. This is the space I'm in. I was up this morning at 4, just praying to go back to sleep, and I had to set my snooze button 5 times just to wake up before your show, Jessica.
Yeah.
It's
interesting.
Someone else told me that. Oh, go ahead, David.
It's interesting that you bring up this DNA structure, because I'm a painter besides being a musician and a writer. And last week, Nostradamus showed up 4 times to Mimi. Mimi's my girlfriend, who's a channeler, and giving me different information of Hebrew symbols to put on this certain painting. And honestly, I really didn't want to do it, so that's why I had to come back 4 times, because I wasn't doing what he was saying that I should do. And a bunch of different things kept coming up about DNA structure from different things that people have experienced at my events, and now the connection with Nostradamus. So I decided to look up what predictions Nostradamus made, and he did say that around 2017 there was going to be a change in the DNA structure of humans.
Well, it's actually a resequencing. It's not necessarily it's changing, because our DNA strands are there. They're just as being described as being dormant or junk, and that's exactly what they are. Is that they're being awakened at this point in time. It's interesting that you use the word symbols, because on our last show we discussed how the galactics use symbols to encode certain sequences of DNA codexes or information, that when you gaze upon these symbols, they activate and they become present to your conscious awareness in ways that are very subconscious in meaning, but they have a way of influencing our current state of perspective on what's happening.
Oh, thank you, Viking. That just sums it up, doesn't it, David? Does that explain why you need to put the symbols in? Because Hebrew is the frequency of the Hebrew characters are all from geometric forms. They're different DNA codings. That's why it's so, they're so powerful. But I've got a question for you, David. In your painting that you're doing right now, are you using, by any chance, a royal blue tone?
Of course. That's my main color that I use.
That's the DNA frequency. Did you know that?
Well, I know it now.
I think it's don't quote me exactly. Somebody will know it from the chat room. It's something like 415 nanometers. You can actually buy an LED with that color in it. In fact, if you, let me just, oh no, my camera's not working. But, I've got an LED in my kitchen that is shining that light. It's just so yummy. It's that yummiest of blues. Anyway,
yeah, I love that.
Yeah. It's a cobalt, is it cobalt blue?
Royal blue.
Yeah, it's something like a cobalt blue. I use that color on every single one of my paintings. There's not one painting I make that doesn't have that color.
How did I know, David? How did I know?
Man, you're right on the money. And, I'm always using these symbols that I don't know why I'm painting into these paintings, or if I don't know why, a lot of the times, Mimi gets these messages to give to me while I'm painting, and it's like, put 3 triangles over here, and in the beginning when she first started giving me these messages, I was resisting it because, I had my own ideas of what should go in these paintings, but after taking her advice that she was getting either from Salvador Dali or recently from Nostradamus, even though these things aren't logical, the way they give me these ideas to put these symbols into the paintings, but it always ends up being really cool in the end, and I always feel like I'm tapping into something that I'm really not in the loop of what it's all supposed to mean, but I know it means something.
Well, David, if it makes you feel any better, recently, one of my guides, Andronicus, who's the show is the Andronicus Transmissions, he gave me a symbol for us to hold on to maintain the frequency for the highest potential for humanity. And we have a few different variations of it. And at first I was apprehensive and I thought, well, this is just going to go by the wayside. I mean, I could see them clearly. And then, finally, Cheryl actually put them together for me. And, she actually, graphically started to put them together, and they're amazing. But the symbols are the language that the extraterrestrials or the higher star being use in communication. Either they're telepathic or the symbols actually display a meaning, and so they don't necessarily have the linguistic skills that we have. So, but the symbols have high vibration, like Sanskrit, and some of the Hebrew letters. All of these things, we're here for a purpose and had a specific vibration to it. So, I can relate to what you're saying.
I think it's been. Sorry, JP. I think it's been coming through while I've been designing these symbols as well. It feels absolutely great to work on them. Feels fantastic. I'm not completely entirely sure of how to use them or what they mean. It's not something I've done before, but actually working on them, designing on them, it feels so much fun. It's absolutely fantastic.
Here's the thing. From my perspective, because I'm seeing lots of people who are doing this thing and I'm talking to lots of people, this is coming through more and more. Not only Cheryl, but is it Cheryl or Cheryl?
It's Cheryl, and then my nickname's Chez.
Chez.
So we call me,
all right.
Cheryl or Chez.
Chez, all right. Because I've got a friend Chaz as well, so Chez. So, and Jez, there's lots of, so you're the Ez connection. All right, so, yeah. But, for instance, our webmaster, Andronicus.transmissions.com webmaster, Olivia, is also a painter, and she says, I can't stop these symbols coming onto my art. And
I was thinking of Olivia too.
They're really, Rainbow Weaver's got hers, and everybody's coming up with these symbols. This is how, so from my perspective, we have this thing on the Earth called the QR code. It's that little square with all the little black and white squares that are on or off. And you use your mobile phone and you scan it. You see that thing. And what that does is it's really, a text encoding that says this is http / blah, blah, blah. It's a website. It's a website address. We understand what that is now. We also understand more or less that a website address translates to an IP number. The internet port, that's that 192.168.175.362. Those numbers that you see all over the internet, that's your address. That's where your computer is on the internet. And I believe that symbols are on another level the same thing. They're essentially this frequency here on this plane with this, on this dimension with this, in this universe kind of thing. And it helps to locate the energy of it. And once you've connected in with the energy of it, then, like you say, it's just like a channeling. That's all it is. It's like a telephone number. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's completely, because what it conveys is an understanding. It goes beyond words. It conveys a complete understanding. I grew up in the 60s. I was a teenager, and back then patches, it was all about the patches, and the patches were symbols like the peace sign, and the yin yang and the ong. This is how we represented ourselves, by sewing patches on our jeans and jackets, right? And it's how we kind of set a standard, like a flag of kind of where we were coming from. And just looking at my computer screen, I mean, our life is covered with symbols. I mean, I see about 30 symbols right now. And so rather than having to express them through words, we know automatically what it's conveying, as you pointed out. And I believe this is exactly, what's being portrayed here. I just want to also say about, royal blue. ISIS wore, a lapis on their third eye. It actually invokes and it opens up the, higher state of awareness. And it's it's a divine color of the goddess, of the feminine. But yes, symbols, JP, you're totally right on.
You never know what happens when you get a mix of different people together, where the conversation is going to go.
Viking, where are you based out of?
Physically, I'm here in Northern California. But I tend to be bilocating a lot these days. Not necessarily by choice, but just by just the essence and the energy of what's going on here. Yeah, I'm from Northern California, born and raised.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to just get a point of where you're at physically.
When you find out, please let me know, okay?
It'll be news to everybody. It's beautiful. Yeah. Isn't it? So this blue frequency. So people, there's a whole thing. One of the things of the evolution of mankind is our exploration into the levels of blue. Now, people say, "Oh, blue is unhealthy." It's not unhealthy. Nothing's unhealthy if you use it right. Just don't overuse it. And if you need to sleep, do cut out the blue light, because it does. Yeah, it keeps you awake. But if you look at all the science fiction films, the future is always blue, out of the blue, and it's because the frequencies are rising, and when a frequency of a color rises, it goes more towards the blue and more away from the red. It takes it more into the cosmic.
Sometimes these things just come right out of the blue.
Exactly. We have all these phrases that say these, that talk to us about that. Then we don't have hackneyed phrases for nothing. They're not hackneyed because, go ahead.
And there's that saying, the wild blue yonder. It's not the wild yellow yonder or the wild purple yonder. It's the wild blue yonder.
Exactly. You wouldn't want to go into the wild. Let's go into the wild yellow. No, you can't even say it. You're right. Blue just
it doesn't feel right.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, don't
So, listen, Jessica, we're coming up to, we're about 2 minutes out, about 1 minute out now. Would you like to, reconvene or at another time, or, I'll just shut up. Jessica, could you, lead the show up, please?
No problem. I love it when everyone gets engaged in the show and is starting to, connect and so what I would like to do is say, David, thank you for being on the show and just if anyone wants to contact David and I would encourage any of you, if you live in another state or somewhere, maybe, you want to bring David to your group, do a concert and just take that in. You can, contact you best ways through your website, David?
Yeah. DavidYoungMusic.com.
DavidYoungMusic.com. Also, Chez, did you have anything that you wanted to share about what's going on in Facebook?
Well, there's nothing much been posted, but I am going to, redo the symbols, so they're a better quality because I've got a new program now and I'm going to be posting them on there and you've sent some descriptions. We'll probably put them together. So I'll put them on there if people wanted to look at them a bit later.
Okay, thank you. And we should have Olivia on too. We're going to have her give us an overview of what's going on with the website and if there's any other changes, but we're excited about what's happening now.
I have a thought, just as a quick thought. Why don't we bring all the people who have got these symbols and let's do a round table on video so that we can all share our symbols and see if we can read each other's symbols. Does that sound fun? Fun to you, David?
That sounds great.
Cheryl?
Yeah, sounds good. Well, they're not my symbols. I've just copied from what Jessica's given.
The Andronicus ones.
All right.
Yeah, the Andronicus ones. So.
I've got my symbol branded in my arm. I'd love to share it.
Cool. No, yeah, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we're introducing the language, and we can actually even look at Sanskrit. I have this beautiful blanket that I got from a wonderful friend that's all Sanskrit. You can take a look at that, and it looks like a bunch of symbols. And I think that's a great idea. JP, you let us know when you want to do that, and we'll revisit that again.
That'd be so cool. All right, thanks a lot, everybody.
Yeah, and I just want to say that, well, thank you for everyone, and stay tuned. We're going into the Interstellar Galactic Council with Viking. Anything that you want to share, let people know that it's coming on right now.
No, as I said, we'll just see you on the other side.
Okay.
Thank you.
In more ways than one.
Thank you, Amy Delgado, for contributing a question, and all of you wonderful people in the chat room. Love you guys. Thank you for being present and maintaining the vibration of consciousness of the planet. We love you all. Peace, love, harmony, and